Hey everybody, this video is going to be pretty different than my usual chemistry videos, but this is something that I've really gotten into lately and it's been tons of fun for me. So I thought it'd be fun to show you guys some of what I've been up to lately. So this is going to be about gold panning. Last weekend I went to a gold mine in Dahlonega, Georgia, and we had a lot of fun panning and looking for gold and gemstones and everything else they offer there. So I bought one of their high-grade concentrated ores. So this is they say it's 5 gallons of what they dig out of the ground, which is then ran through their machines to condense it down to 1 gallon. And I got this because you might be able to see, you can actually see the gold poking out of the bag here. And I thought that was pretty cool. So that's the material I'm going to be running today. I didn't dig it out of a stream myself, unfortunately, but this did come out of an actual gold mine, which I think is pretty cool. So all you need for panning, really, is a gold pan and a source of water. So I got a bucket full of water there. So I'm going to have my gold pan, a vial to store my gold in. An eyedropper is sometimes helpful for moving stuff around. And this thing is called a snuffer bottle. It's a plastic bottle that has a tube going halfway down so you can suck material into it and it won't come back out. Okay, I've got my tub full of water and I've taken about half of that bag and put it into my pan here. This is a 14-inch pan. Some people would probably think that's pretty big, but I like it because you get a lot of material in it and you can go through a bunch at a time. So the whole goal of panning is to stratify our material. So what we want to do is put water in this and shake it around a lot in order to get everything in sort of a slurry. And that liquid slurry, all the heavy stuff will want to sink to the bottom, all the light stuff wants to float to the top. Gold, of course, being very heavy, will go to the bottom. And so we'll be able to sweep the top material off without getting rid of any of our gold, hopefully. That's one of the benefits of doing this at home, by the way, is this tub that I have contains any of the material that I lose, so I can always repan that later if I think I missed something. Before I start, I wanted to mention I am not an experienced panner at all. I just started doing this recently. I'll put links in the description about where I learned how to do this, so you can go look at those videos maybe for a better instructional sort of video. This is more just to show everybody kind of what I've been up to lately, and I just think it's a lot of fun. So what we're going to do is take our pan and get some water in here. I'm going to get quite a lot of water so we can get a good liquid slurry going. So I've got this underwater now, and what we want to do is shake it around a lot. So this is going to form, like I said, that slurry where the heavy stuff will go to the bottom and the light stuff goes to the top. So I like to go in circles and then back and forth a little bit and do some more circles, back and forth. Do this for a minute or so, and then we want to tilt the pan, and I keep shaking it a little bit to get everything settled into the corner. And we're using the riffles here. So see, the gold now, being heavy, should be down in this edge. This edge, of course, down in there. So it'll get stuck in the riffles as well. So the gold will be down on the bottom. Light stuff is up top. So now what we want to do is remove the light stuff. So again, we'll put this under the water, and then what we want to do is pull it out so that the light stuff falls off. So we'll get it under the water and pull it. You can see some of the material falls off the top. And that's really all there is to it. We just do that a couple of times to sweep off some of the light stuff, and then bring it back down to the bottom, shake it around a bit. Bring it over to the riffles and sweep off the top. So again, the gold should be on the bottom, and all this stuff we're getting rid of should just be the lights, the dirt. And as to how often you should shake, you really cannot shake too much. So the more of this you do, the better the stratification is going to be. So if you're ever not sure, do another one of these. Another technique that seems to work pretty well, especially once you get down to not a lot of material left, is sort of a side-to-side motion. So instead of doing this feathering where we pull it out of the water and lose some material, we can do a sort of a side-to-side rocking motion. So if we go like this, you can see the top material moving, and as I move it back, some of that will fly out. The source I learned this from calls this technique the rock and roll, so if that helps you remember. So I like to use a little bit of both whenever I'm doing this. This seems to work a little better if there's a lot of rocks in this. The rocks tend to hold up some material if we just do the feathering, but if I do the side-to-side motion, that kind of loosens it up a little bit more, I think. So you can see the stuff sort of walk out as I go back. Now when I get down to about this level, where there's not a lot of material left, you see it's starting to get harder and harder to fill up these riffles. So it gets harder to do the sort of feathering technique. You can also see at this point we're starting to see some of the black sand, which is that's the heavy material that's often is what gold is found in. The black sand is primarily iron oxides like magnetite. So when I get down to this level, usually what I like to do is switch to the other side. So rather than using the riffles now, we're going to the other side, so I can gather everything up a little bit nicely, or a little bit more nicely. So now I've got this, and I can do my feathering or the side-to-side motion on this. At this point, of course, you have to be a little bit more careful because we've got less material, and we don't have the riffles to help us out. So the gold is in slightly more danger of leaving the pan. So you want to be more careful at this stage. I don't know if you've been able to see it so far, but check it out. That's a lot of gold from this pan. So that's really, really cool. So that's what we're looking for. So I want to try to get rid of most of the rest of this garbage so we can have the gold relatively clean. Notice here. See that? That's a piece of gold that's floating on the surface right there. That can happen if your gold is really fine or in a thin flake form. Gold is heavy, but the surface tension of water can sometimes trap it. You can see that some pieces tend to pick up and fly around like that. That's very dangerous. So at this point what we need to do is probably something I should have done at the beginning, but we need to add a surfactant to break that surface tension and prevent that from happening. Bring it a little bit closer so you can see this. There's a couple of pieces of gold, like right there and right there, that are floating. They're buoyed by the surface tension. Now, that's very bad, of course. So we need to break that surface tension. A lot of people recommend jet dry, so that's what I'm going to use. Just a couple of drops of this stuff. You can also use any kind of soap, I would imagine, dish soap, whatever. But you should be able to see this. This is pretty cool. So watch these pieces of gold. Let me try to get them in the camera again. Okay, so watch those. I'll add the dish soap and see what happens. Do you see that? They fell right to the bottom. So the surfactant, the soap, breaks the surface tension and allows the gold to fall back down. So especially if you have very, very fine gold, it's very important to have this soap in your water here. Alright, now we've got our material down to about 2 tablespoons, and what we're going to do is give it another little shake to get everything stratified in the corner there. And I'm going to do a cool little technique where you take one of your hands and just put it on the side of the pan, and I'm going to bump the pan into it several times. And what that's going to do is all the heavy stuff is going to migrate towards the place that I'm bumping. So I've got my hand sort of on this side of the pan, and that's all I'm going to do. So here we go. So that means all the black sand, all the gold, all the good stuff is going to be right where my hand's at. After I've done that just a couple of times, you can hopefully see the gold peeking out. So now we're going to sweep that black sand away by doing circular motions. So I take my pan and sort of swirl it in a circle. And you want to do this slowly, because otherwise you can carry the gold away with it. But take a look at that. I got most of my gold isolated. I missed one down there, so I'll redo that to the rest of this several times just to make sure that I got all the gold. But I've got most of what I want right there. Now this is where our snuffer bottle comes in handy. This thing, as I showed before, it's just a bottle with a little tube in it. The tube only goes part way down. So what will happen, you'll be able to suck things up, but it won't come back out. So I'm going to use this to get our gold out. Now the gold doesn't have to be totally clean at this point, because I'm just trying to get it away from all the rest of this garbage. So we'll squeeze out the air, get some water over the gold, and just suck it up. So there you go. It's all gone, and it's all in the bottle now. Now I'll do that searching for gold 3 or 4 more times, again just to make positive that I didn't miss anything, or maybe some really fine pieces. So we'll get it all in a corner, and then we can do this strategy as well. So you can either go in circles to reveal it, sweep it away from one side, or you can take all the water, put it on one side, and sort of pull it back down. So you tilt the pan towards you, and the top stuff, the lighter material, will fall off first, and it'll slowly reveal the heavy stuff underneath it, which stays up at the top of the pan. That's another advantage of this 14-inch pan, by the way, is when you get down to this amount of material, you can really spread it out nicely, and just to make sure that you don't have any gold hiding under any other dirt or anything like that. You can spread it out real good on this. Alright, I've got my gold and black sand concentrate, and I've emptied out the pan of the other stuff, so we'll put this stuff in there and see if we can't clean up my gold. So I'll put some more water in there just to make sure I got it all. Okay. And then you can see I've got a pretty good amount of gold in there with a small amount of black sand. Scoop that over there. So we're going to do the old bump trick again. Look at that, just a couple of times, and we've already separated a lot of the black sand away from it. So I'll just sort of real gently come in and brush the sand away with the water. And now we've got pretty clean gold up here. I hope you can see that. Looks like one little piece got away from me. Get back up there. So check it out. There's my cleaned up gold. I've got 17 little flakes and one pretty good sized little nugget. Look at this thing. That's got some thickness to it. So that's really cool. And I swear I didn't doctor this or seed this bag or anything. This is what they gave me from the mine. So this stuff is actually in their ore. So that is really cool. So I'm going to take all of this and put it into a vial. This is actually the second half of the bag. I previously did the first half, and those results are in here. I only got about 8 flakes out of that. So kind of makes sense, right? Gold is heavy, so you'd find more of it in the bottom half of the bag. So what we're going to do is you just need a dry finger, and you can stick that to this damp gold, and the gold will stick to your finger. And then you can transfer that to a vial. And then dry your finger off, pick up some more of the gold, and just drop it into your vial. I've removed the gold from the vial and dried it out, and I've got it here on a piece of whey paper, and you can see it's very beautiful, really. The color of gold is unmistakable, and it's just gorgeous. And it's amazing to me that this stuff, it just comes straight out of the ground. I mean, the mine that I got this from is a open pit hard rock mine. So what they actually do is they have quartz ore that they dig up and run through a rock crusher
to grind it down into sand, and that frees the gold that's been trapped in the quartz rock, and that's what we get to pan through. So let's weigh it up and see what we come up with. So I've got my little scale here, which is more accurate than my big scale. I'm going to get another piece of weigh paper, tear it out to that. Looks like 0.21 grams. So let's weigh out that mini nugget by itself and see how much that actually contributed. It's about 0.04 grams just for that one piece. That's pretty cool. So the total weight of all this, 0.21 grams, at today's gold price turns out to be about $8.83. So almost $9 in gold recovery from a $15 bag of dirt. That's pretty cool. Honestly, I was not trying to make money off of this. I'm just doing it because I think it's a lot of fun, and I think this gold will actually make a really pretty display sample for my element collection. So I don't mind. I mean, even if it was $1 worth of gold, I think that would still be cool. But the fact that I got $9 out of a $15 bag that's very cool to me. So we'll vial this back up and put it on the shelf for the element display.